Mrs. Winsley jabbed hit went at the cutlery drawer, which swung open. Harry and Ron both jumped back as several knives flew across the kitchen and began chopping the potatoes that had just been spitched back into the soup.
I don't know where we went wrong with them, said Mrs. Weasley, putting down her wand and starting to pull out still more saucepans. It's been the same for years, one thing after another, and they won't listen to it. Oh, not again! She had picked up her wand from the table, and it had emitted a loud squeak and turned it into a giant trouble mouse. One of their fake ones again, she shouted. How many times have I told them not to leave them lying around? She grabbed her real wand and turned it around to find that the sauce on the stove was smoking. Come on, Ron said hardly to Harry, seizing a handful of cutlery from the open drawer. Let's go and help Bill and Charlie. They left Mrs. Weasley and headed out the back door into the yard. They had only gone a few paces fast when Hermione's bandy-legged ginger cat, Crookshanks, came pelting out of the garden, bottle brush tail held high in the air, chasing what looked like a muddly potato on legs. Harry recognized it instantly as a gnome, barely 10 inches high. Its horny little feet pattered very fast as it sprinted across the yard and drove headlong into one of the Wellington boats they lay scattered around the door. Harry could hear the gnome diddling madly as Crookshanks instead pawed into the boat, trying to reach it. Meanwhile, a very loud crashing noise was coming from the other side of the house. The source of the commotion was revealed as they entered the garden and saw that Bill and Charlie both had their wands out, and were making two battered old tables fly high above the lawn, smashing into each other, each attempting to knock the others out of the air. Fred and George were cheering, Ginny was laughing, and Hermione was hovering near the hedge, apparently torn between amusement and anxiety.
Bill's table caught Charles with a hedge bang and gnawed on off its leg on. There was a clatter from overhead, and they all looked up to see Percy Heath poking out of a window on the second floor. "You will keep it down?" he bellowed. "Sorry, Percy," Bill grinned. "How the cauldron bottom's coming along?" "Very badly," said Percy previously, and he slammed the window shut again. Chuckling, Bill and Charlie dragged the table softly onto the grass end to end, and then, with a flick of this wand, Bill retraced the table leg and contoured the tablecloth from no head. By 7 o'clock, the two tables were groaning under dishes and dishes of Mrs. Wiley's excellent cooking and the 9 Whalens. Harry and Hermione were settling themselves down to eat beneath a clear, deep blue sky. To somebody who had been living on meats of increasingly stale cake or salmon, this was paradise, and at first Harry listened rather than choked as he helped himself to chicken and ham pie, boiled potatoes and salad. At the far end of the table, Percy was telling his father all about his report on cauldron bottoms.
The crunch that I will have it ready by Tuesday, Percy was saying pompously. That's a bit sooner than he expected it, but I like to keep on top of things. I think he will be grateful I've done it in good time. I mean, it's extremely busy in our department just now. What will all the arrangements for the World Cup. We are just not getting to the support we need from the Department of Magic Games and Sport, Ludo Bagman. I like Ludo, said Mr. Weasley. Milky, he was the one who got as such good ticket for the cup. I did him a bit of a favor. His brother Otto got into a spot of trouble, a love novel with a natural power, Alice more than the wall thinks over. Oh, Batman like Abel. Enough, of course, said Percy dismissively. But how he ever got to be head of department? When I compare him to Mr. Crunch, I can see Mr. Crunch losing a member of our department and not trying to find out what's happened to them. You Weasley, better joking, has been missing for over a month now. Went on holiday to Albania and never come back. Yes, I was asking Luda about that. I said Mr. Weasley from Ning. He says Beta got lost plenty of times before now. Enough, I must say, if was someone in my department, I'd be worried.
Oberta Hobbles, alright, said Percy. I have she's been shunted from department to department for a year. Much more trouble than she's worth, but all the same. Beckman ought to be trained to find her. Mr. Crutch has been taking a personal interest. She worked in our department at one time, you know, and I think Mr. Crutch was pretty fond of her. But Beckman just kept laughing and saying she probably misread the map and ended up in Australia instead of Albania. However, Percy having an impressive thing and took a deep swig of elderflower wine where we got guilty announced on our plate that at the Department of International Magical Cooperation we are trying to find member of other department too. As you know, we got another big event to organize right after the World Cup.